My name is Dr. Dickens Lubanga. I'm a pediatrician based at Bungoma Children's Hospital in Skata. So, in the continuation of our topics, today we talk about diarrhea in children. And for a start, we know that diarrhea is a common thing in children. At least most children will have an episode of diarrhea in their lifetime that might necessitate for them to seek medical care. And so it's a common thing that occurs uh, both in all setups, whether urban or the rural. And most of the time, these children have at least passage of low stool, and usually we define as a passage of more than 3 episodes of low stool, or one huge episode of low stool. That can also be defined as diarrhea. Remember, ideally, we are supposed to go at least for long call, probably once or twice in a day. That is normal, but sometimes when you find that you are going more than those episodes, it means that you have basically a running stomach. And so diarrhea in children brings a lot of worry because one, most children have a majority of their body composed of water. Actually, up to around 70% of a child's uh, total body weight and surface area is composed of water. So only around 30% is composed of bones and other substrates. So you find that this is a significant proportion, and any imbalance in the amount of fluid in a child's body basically might cause dehydration and might cause even end up causing shock. And all this can actually cause death in majority of the children. So so you find that we are normally very scared if a child is having diarrhea, and worse off if it's accompanied by vomiting. And majority of the time, they seem to occur at the same time, so that the child is having a diarrhea and is also vomiting. So this means that the child is not able to retain any food, and even the food that they're able to eat is actually lost because of the episodes of diarrhea that this child has. So, how do we categorize this kind of diarrheas? Usually, we can categorize them in the context of their duration, so which you can say either acute or persistent diarrhea. And for acute diarrhea, most of the times, so this is diarrhea that lasts duration of less than 14 days, and this is the most common that occurs in children. Then there is persistent diarrhea, which occurs for more than 14 days. That's if you have been having diarrhea persistently for more than 14 days. Then that is persistent diarrhea. This is a third category whereby either the diarrhea has blood, which we call blood diarrhea, or non-blood diarrhea. So, and this one usually they cause, majority of the time is either surgical, or number two, can be caused by bacteria and also other parasites. So that's how we define, that's how we classify diarrhea. There's also a classification that will classify them based on what causes them. And majority of these diarrhea are normally viral. So there are those which are caused by viruses, for example, rotavirus. There are those which are caused by bacteria, and this bacteria includes E. coli. There are also bacteria like Salmonella, which is the main cause of typhoid. Um, that that there's that diarrhea that is also associated with parasitic infections. Parasitic infections include things like amoeba, which majority of the people tend to go to seek over-the-counter medications to stop the diarrhea. So usually, majority of these diarrhea are actually viral in nature, and then they're followed by a bit of parasitic, and then bacterial, basically in that order. So in the current season, as you're talking, we are experiencing a huge number of children with typhoid, and so and this can be attributed because of uh, the drought that was persistent around January and February of this year, and now that the rains have come, Usually, this is a good season uh, for the typhoid to spread around. And so, when you find that these children presenting with this diarrhea and stomach pains, what should you do? One, we are saying that please take your child to the hospital because you are saying that there are so many causes of diarrhea. There are those ones which are bacteria, there are those ones which are viral, there are those ones which are parasitic. So that now it can be checked in the lab to see which kind of diarrhea, which is the cause of diarrhea. Instead of you just fishing, trying to use one specific drug, for example, flagyl, which majority of the people will go to the chemist and buy over the counter because they think that majority of the diarrhea is actually caused by the parasites. And so we're asking that first of all, you go to the hospital where this child is able to be evaluated for any signs of dehydration, because you have said that these children tend to lose water very fast, and so they're going to have signs of dehydration like sunken eyes. For those small children, you'll get the anterior fontanelle, that's the space that normally palpates. So you'll find that it basically deviates inside, so it's not bulging, and uh, and so it's a sign that basically this child is dehydrated. The other one that will have dry lips, the other one that will tend to pee less often than normal because they don't have enough fluid. And usually, this is the cases that cause acute kidney injury because the kidneys, if they do not get water for a given period of time, then they suffer injury and sometimes they might even fail. And that's also one of the biggest complications that you have as far as diarrhea in children is concerned. There are those ones that will be irritable. There are those ones who might have fever. Now, depending on the cause, if it's viral or if it's bacterial, uh, they might actually have a high-grade fever. This is like typhoid tend to give you a step ladder pattern that starts gradually and increases as days go by, and usually it will also be associated with headache, that is mainly frontal, and sometimes temporal, and so this should actually give a clear indication that this child requires urgent care and requires rehydration. So in a hospital setup, what do we do? Usually we assess the dehydration status of the child, that's the dehydration status. So initially we classify if they are severely dehydrated, if they're in shock, if they are moderately dehydrated, or no dehydration. And then there are various interventions that we do in the hospital according to the WHO protocols that guide us. But remember, key drugs for these children is ORS, that is the oral rehydration salt. So actually, oral rehydration salt is a key intervention by WHO, and usually it's composed of glucose, basically sugar, and salt, so mixed in the ratio of 1 to 6. This helps to replenish the fluid that is getting lost by the body. And remember, for most children, when they undergo diarrhea, they tend to lose their epithelial cells that line the intestines. And so when they lose those cells that line the intestines, it means that absorption of key minerals, of key food complements might be impaired. So you find that they tend to have a lot of malabsorption. So you'll find them just having continuous diarrhea because they don't have the mechanism of absorbing whatever that should be absorbed because they have lost part of their epithelium with the diarrhea. So once we classify, we emphasize on ORS. Then we have zinc, which we give also. Zinc has been shown to reduce the episode of diarrhea by up to 25%. Then we also emphasize on vaccination. Remember, vaccinations like vitamin A and also vaccination for measles is quite important. And now we're also asking parents to vaccinate for typhoid because typhoid is a big factor, and there's been a lot of resistance to the conventional antibiotics that we have been using to treat typhoid. We are getting to get more specific antibiotic resistant typhoid within the population. And that's why the ministry is really trying to ask parents to vaccinate their children against typhoid so that they do not get severe forms of the infection. For those ones who are severely dehydrated, usually we prefer to admit them for rehydration and also to ensure that they do not get kidney injury. And then also as we ascertain the cause of the diarrhea. So if it is bacterial, then we initiate the specific drug that's supposed to be used. If it is parasitic, then we also initiate the specific drugs that will target the specific organisms that have caused the disease. All in all, we are saying that these are diseases that can be preventable. Notable practice for preventing diarrhea in children includes exclusive breastfeeding of newborns for up to 6 months. So ensure that all newborns who are born, they are breastfed, and also hand washing. Hand washing, we are saying that correctly washing your hands with running water and salt, because this also improves our inability to transmit the same infections. Remember, most of these infections are oral fecal route. That means that their transmission is through fecal matter. So you must have touched the fecal matter and introduce it to the mouth. That's the only way, majority of the time, that you're going to get these viral diarrheas. And you can get them anywhere. You can touch them on surfaces. And viruses like rotavirus tend to spread very fast. In fact, if you're in a matatu and you just touch a seat whereby a child was been having rotavirus diarrhea touches there, then most likely, and you eat something, then most likely also going to gain the same diarrhea that this child will have gained. Usually they come up very fast. Within 1 or 2 days of contact, you find that you're having a bad stomach. There are other things that can also cause these diarrheas, like cholera, which happens especially in places whereby there's a lot of dirt and where problems with sanitation are chaotic. So, and basically where the public health interventions are actually lacking. So we encourage people to wash their hands regularly and with running water, and to follow the 6 steps of actually hand washing, which indicates at least you need to wash for 30 minutes. Or if you're having a sanitizer, then you have to rub really well, and you cannot keep on rubbing sanitizer more than 10 times. So we encourage at least you wash your hands in between, even for those ones with the sanitizer, so that to ensure that your hands are clean and that you're handling food that will not give you disease later. So so that is key. So let us keep on the watch out, actually, for children who are having diarrhea. Let us take them to hospitals that the doctors can be able to identify, and also to be able to treat them before they get into complications. Thank you.